That could be the intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fan cast. I'm your host, Havokpus, and I'm joined by Frozencreek.
Hello. How's it going today?
Going good. I did not get Stratus because it's $500, so that's one thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Other than that, I'm pretty perked up. Feeling good. I just bought Football Manager 2021, so I've been playing at the beta almost nonstop. It's pretty great.
Very, very cool.
So that's kept me pretty perky.
Careful, Frozen. You may need to take some Perkzds after.
Joke's on you. I'm already on it now.
Oh shit!
I'm just kidding, but
the joke didn't work.
But before I reveal why I'm all perked up, I think we have some other stuff to talk about.
Yes, for sure. I guess diving into some sort of, I guess, more organizational kind of news, but I thought it was kind of exciting. We finally have shoes. After 2 years of being in bed with Puma, they've finally given us shoes.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people aren't that happy with them, but I actually think they're pretty dope. The Future Rider whites are pretty cool, and I like the logoing on those a lot more than the other shoes. And I also really like the RSX whites if they tone down the logoing and branding a little bit, because it's actually a really cool shoe.
Yeah, the shoes to me look okay. I think my issue is that they're just a bit too blocky. Like, they just look kind of what it reminds me of, like when you play like some of like the like Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, like Knuckles has those like really blocky shoes that make him look like he just has like weird like Lego feet or whatever. Like Shadow the Hedgehog's shoes. It kind of reminds me of that, where they're just kind of blocky and very it's kind of clunky looking. But maybe that's just the style that shoes are nowadays. I'm not into like this fashion sneaker groups, so that could just be like what's in vogue right now.
Yeah, there is like a whole subset of like blacky shoes. I really like them. I have a pair of those feetless shoes, the massive chunky ones. I'm sure you've seen them, but before the Fila Disruptor 2 is
maybe.
Yeah, they're really chunky and blocky and very, very big. And so I like them because of that. I just have a really big feet, so I kind of look kind of odd with my massive shoes on, since I am tall, but like I'm not like a 6'6" guy whose feet look proportional. So sometimes blocky shoes are kind of a bit odd on me. But I really like them. The gaming socks or gaming shoes, not a huge fan.
Yes, the esports stage wear, which is basically just a sock that they put whole like soles on and then sell it to you for $90.
Honestly, if they were warm, I'd contemplate it, because I really want some slippers, and I feel like these probably aren't warm.
No, like I thought that they were just like a different kind of shoe, because I've seen some shoes that are, so they sort of have like the web design, and it looks more like it's constructed basically out of like one basic piece, and it it looks all like kind of webbed and like kind of threaded all together, and it looks more like a high top, and I like those style shoes, and I thought that was what they were going for. But then I read more in the description, and it was like, oh, this is really for indoors only. It's just like, so you can't like wear it outside, really? Like, that was kind of something that just kind of had me scratching my head, and it didn't really vibe with me.
Yeah, and I've never really been a fan of Puma stuff in general, so that just is not something I would ever really wear. But to whomever buys them, to each their own. So, because they're kind of cool. Like, I like the logos on them, and like I could see myself wearing them, but
Oh yeah, for sure. I think if they came in like a black or a blue, I'd be more inclined to wear them, like to get them. But I think that since they're like white and kind of like an off white, it's it's just like, well, they're just gonna get dirty and they're just gonna look all gross after only wearing them for a little bit. It makes you kind of not want to invest in it.
yeah, I also agree.
But I guess moving on to like other Cloud9 merchandise and services, the Stratus service that people can sign up for is kind of interesting. I mentioned earlier that it does cost like $500, and it's basically you pay it. I think it's in like 4 installment payments. And basically, it's just the service where like they'll send you merch. You can sit in on like these roundtable discussions with like other Stratus members. You can, I think you maybe even get news early than most, like the general viewing public gets like announcements and everything for things. Stratus members may end up getting these sort of big news announcements, like perhaps like maybe like a week earlier or something. So it's a very interesting service that you can sign up for if you're super dedicated to Cloud9 and want to just get like a bunch of merch and stuff and be able to kind of have sort of like, it's kind of like a backstage pass essentially, where you can be more interactive with the org and the players and be more involved than I guess the normal fan would be.
Yeah, and allegedly, there's a perky video showing up for Stratus members, thanking them for signing up. I don't know. It's a lot of money for me.
It's very expensive. I think
So, like,
this is kind of the thing. I'm not sure if like other like basketball or like football or soccer teams
I don't
do
think
this.
I've ever heard of it before.
It's definitely not like an everyone thing. This is for like if you have the means to do so and you have the disposable incomes where you're like, I could totally do this, then I think it's kind of catering. It's like catering to the crowd that's like, oh, whenever I go to a concert, I get the backstage pass or I get like the VIP tickets or whatever. It's that kind of thing. So if only I'd imagine they're just trying to rope in like the really dedicated fans and the ones that are able to like afford buying all of their merch whenever they release a new merch collection, or being able to buy like the $300 Secret Labs chair and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if a chair was part of that merch package, I would honestly maybe get it because I would love like a cool gaming chair, but I don't think it is. So I don't know. Like it is a lot of money, and I can afford it, but I'd rather just spend it on
you'd rather spend on other
driver
stuff.
for golf.
Yeah. It's definitely. I think if they did throw in stuff like that, like if they threw in the chair along with a bunch of merch and stuff, along with the other added features, like at that point, it's like, oh well, it pays for itself because you're basically paying for the chair plus merch plus lots of other features. So then at that point, it's like, oh well, it was worth it because for spending a little bit more, I'm able to get all this other stuff. But if it's, I think that. I don't know exactly what merch comes with like their little care packages that they send out and everything. And I'm not sure exactly how good the quality of like the sort of insider content that they have is. But it would be interesting to kind of find out more about that out once that actually does start kind of ramping up. It maybe it'll change some people's minds. Maybe once it proves successful, maybe they'll actually like lower the price to something a bit more reasonable so they can have more people join it. Who knows?
Yeah, but for now, I'm out.
Yeah. But I guess moving on, we can talk about actual gaming news. The Cloud9 CS:GO roster, the Colossus. Colossus was getting ready to fight some bad guys, and unfortunately, this was the arc where he went through the Siege Perilous and forgot that he had mutant powers and was a New York artist for a little while because we kind of got steamrolled.
Yeah,
at Flashpoint.
I guess you could call it a a colossal failure those first
You
couple games. I mean,
you could.
I am really not all that surprised. In actuality, it was their first time playing together on stage, and they actually played some pretty good teams. So it's not like they were just falling to like the slimy booger men of CS:GO.
No, yeah, this is. I believe this roster has only been like, assembled for like a month, right? And this is the first time any of these players are playing together. This isn't like a situation where it's like, oh, well, this person's played with this guy on this team before, so at least they know how to work. Like, this is them trying to have to figure out. You're literally starting at ground level here and having to work your way up. And it's only been a month. I think fans and everyone would have taken it a lot better with the losses. If Henry didn't like spend the past like 2 or 3 months hyping up this team to no end. So
Yeah.
I think that he kind of had a hand in our downfall, I think a little bit, but we did look. So we played Virtus Pro and we looked really bad, but we played who was that we played? Was it Space Station Gaming? I can't remember who we played second. Oh no, I think it was OG. We played them second, and we looked a lot better. The games that we played in our second match in Flashpoint in the losers bracket, we looked a lot better, and I think it's really good that just after a few days of playing an official match that we played a lot better and we looked a lot together, and not as just wild and running around all over the place, not knowing what to do. So I think that that's a good sign. This is a real work in progress. I think this is going to take a while before there's going to really be anything of it, just because this is a new roster in every sense of the word, really, and that's going to take time to really build up synergies and strategies and really figure out who's going to be able to do what.
Oh yeah, and this is like the first time that we've like built a full roster all at once. Floppy, right, is the only.
Floppy is technically the only mainstay from the previous roster. Everyone else is completely new to the Cloud9 organization. Mezzy is a rookie himself. He hasn't been playing pro for very long. I don't think he's been playing in like a lot of MDL and just like sort of like tier 2, tier 3 kind of competition. So this is sort of his first really big break. So I think he definitely has a lot of work to do in terms of getting onto the level that I think Henry and Kassad and C9 want them to be operating at. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I think that we have nowhere come close to seeing the ceiling at which the CS:GO team can really function at.
Yeah, so hopefully it was a good learning experience because it was tough to watch.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know when they play next, but hopefully they will have a better showing next time.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Moving on to Valorant. Cloud9 Blue actually plays today. I think this might be their last chance to qualify for the First Strike event. I'm not 100% sure, but C9 White did lose their 2 games in the OMG Open qualifier, and I think they're out of contention for First Strike, which is really unfortunate. I know one match or one game that they were playing, and Annie had like a bunch of problems with her game, and she was just constantly like disconnecting on one map, and it was making it really difficult. They still lost, I think, like a pretty big margin, but I think that's definitely like something that you just don't want to see happen, and I think that definitely can affect just the mental aspect of your game. But we play today. I am excited and a bit nervous. We lost in the our last closed qualifier that we played in, and we dropped out before we could get to top 4, which is really unfortunate because the blue squad is kind of, I think, should be a bit above that. But I think at the same time, you can't have bad games and you can't just drop games all of a sudden, especially if it's just like single elimination and whatnot. So hopefully they will come back today. They can get top 4. They can be in the First Strike where they belong. I think their first match is against Space Station Gaming. I don't know too much about their team. but hopefully we can get that dub. We can get that W.
Yeah, that would be big. We do need to qualify through this.
Yes, if we want to hold on to our top 3 NA status, which I think has really been earned with how we've been playing as a team, we definitely need to get to that first strike tournament and do it to it.
Or do both teams play today? Today meaning Thursday.
Blue plays. I don't think White is playing because I think White lost in the open qualifier. They are out of chances, I think.
Okay.
They don't have any upcoming matches scheduled, so it looks like for now at least the White team is taking a siesta and waiting for their next opportunity to to shine.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks. I really like watching the White team play. I think they operate kind of differently than the Blue squad, and they're kind of the new team, but I think they're also you just kind of have to pull for them since they're new and they're different, and you just want them to succeed and show everybody that they're just as good as everybody else.
Definitely.
But moving on next, the London Spitfire actually announced their coaches for the 2021 season, which is kind of exciting.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was yesterday or Tuesday.
Let's see.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. I really can't blame you. It was November 12th.
Okay, so that was a week ago.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that.
Yeah, so we signed Reprise and Commander X. I believe Commander X was maybe one of them was the British Hurricanes coach. I think it was Commander X. Reprise used to coach, I think, another esports team or something. I don't know much about Reprise. Let me see if I can actually find some info about him. Not updated, but oh well.
So are they still planning on promoting the Hurricane?
So we don't know much about the roster yet. I think it's being teased that perhaps maybe today. Let's see. Okay, yeah. The Spitfire even tweeted this Thursday, which this happened on the 16th, which was Monday. They tweeted this Thursday, being today, join Hangar 9, which is sort of their community, kind of group that run. They do like a whole bunch of events and stuff. They were going to do like an AMA with Reprise and Commander X, who are the coaches, along with our GM Noki. Anyway, they're doing like an AMA, and they said very cryptically, "You never know what might be discussed." ... which usually implies that we're going to talk about rosters. But I think that the British Hurricanes are still undefeated. I would not be surprised if we just completely lift up the entire team, if not the majority of it, because at this point, you've completely dropped your entire roster. They just made an announcement yesterday that Bernard and Segwinar have been released, which I think implies that their contracts have been bought and sold to another team. So at this point, it's like, okay, you have no team. You have an academy team that is essentially being a big fish in a small pond at this point. If you want them to truly grow, just bring most of them, if not all of them, up, and just have them try to run the gauntlet and try to see how far they can get in Overwatch League.
Yeah, I'm with you there, because there isn't much of a reason to keep them in hell,
No, yeah, like they're I think
in elo hell.
they're just yearning for better competition. I mean, I think at a certain point, if you're in like the tier 2 scene and you're just crushing everybody, it's like I need something more than this. There's a higher ceiling that we can go. Don't keep us shackled to this, this place where there's nothing exciting or challenging anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but I guess we'll find out today.
Yeah, hopefully. Um, if not, they'll just do an announcement of an announcement, which is just as equally annoying, which is kind of what they've been doing for the past like year or so. But
Yeah, just one
moving
really
on,
long tease.
yeah, I hate it. But moving on to League of Legends stuff, we have departed with our mid laner Niski. He is gone. How do you feel? And he's also rumored to be the mid laner for Fnatic, which I found kind of interesting and a bit surprising. But how do you feel about Niski going?
I've always been a huge Niski fan. When he came, he wasn't really, I guess, billed as anything special. Like he was just supposed to be a top 4 mid, and then just be there for a year or two till we found like our next up and coming star mid laner, which I guess we kind of did. But he's always kind of been my favorite player just because he's so goofy and fun, and I love his style of play. And I've kind of molded my solo queue play into how he plays. Like I love playing Karma mid. I love playing Rumble. I love playing Oriana and all that jazz. And part of that was because of Niski and how I just enjoyed watching him play. Like I think he had a much more likable personality than almost anyone on that roster and anyone that we've had since Sneaky, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. Niski did have probably the largest and most outgoing personality, I think, since Sneaky. So I think a lot of people did attach themselves to him. And he did get a lot of content time, I think, because he is able to make a lot of jokes and do a lot of stuff. So I think that it's only natural that people flock to him. For me, Niski's very odd. I think that he's a very mechanical player, and I think he did help us in adding a lot more aggression to our team. I think especially when he was playing with Blabber. My biggest issue with him was always mostly more of a champion pool and kind of decision making thing, where he would pick these aggressive champions, and then it was a very much like he'd go in and then trade or get himself killed, and that was just really frustrating to me. And in his champion pool was, and it was really interesting because he had a pool that you really didn't see a lot of other mid laners have. He didn't do the whole like, oh well, I'm just gonna play Syndra or Oriana and just do that matchup forever. He picked Zoe, he picked things like Akali and Rumble and Karma, and he played Irelia. He played a lot of interesting picks that not a lot of other mid laners kind of gravitated to, which I think did make him really interesting to watch. But I think at least for me, it also made it kind of stressful because it's like I don't know if he's going to do well or not this game. Because sometimes things just get kind of crazy. And when you listen to the comms, there's whenever when Blabber that's really dictating it's like, yeah, let's fight, let's go, we can do this. Kind of mentality, which is both fun and exciting, but also really stressful. But, he did, for any faults that I did kind of seeing him, he did win us a championship. He did help us do that, and you can't fault him for that. So it's kind of it is definitely, at least for me, kind of a bittersweet moment.
Yeah, I'm going to miss him. It was always going to be tough to follow in his shoes, but I feel like we did as good of a job as we could replacing him, and I don't know where I would put him in Cloud9 mid laners, but I think he deserves to sit in a tier with Jensen. Like, we've only had 4 laners if you count Golden Glue, because he played a decent
Yeah,
amount.
that's true. Yeah. So
So
you had High, Jensen, Nisky, and Golden Glue.
I mean,
Yeah.
High sits in his own tier, I think, on his own.
Oh yeah. I think that if you were going to make a Mount Rushmore of Cloud9, High would definitely be on it. I think that what he did for the team is he quickly established C9 as a top tier team, I think, and
As the top team actually for
yeah,
quite a bit.
yeah, for quite a bit. And I think that really helped cement sort of C9's legacy as being a team everyone wants to play with. Nisky definitely brought to a style that was not traditional. I think if you were to look at sort of traditional mid laners, you kind of think of like Jensen and Bjergsen and how they play. Nisky definitely brought a style that was kind of counteracted to that, but he made it work in some ways. So he's definitely going to stand out. Now, I preface this, since there's been no official Cloud9 announcement, but essentially every news source and their mother is saying that Perks to C9 is a done deal, it's signed and everything. Probably waiting for other things to kind of fall through. But how do you think Perks is going to line up with this C9 roster? You have Fudge in the top lane, Blabber in jungle, Sven, who he has played with a lot before, and then Vulcan with Rainover as coach.
I honestly think that this takes Cloud9 from, like, if this was Nisky's team still, like, this would be probably a top 3 team, and I think it pretty much cements us as the top team in LCS, and even as like a top 3 or 4 team in the West. Like, Perks is that good. He's like he's kind of been like the star player in the West for 2-3 years now.
He's essentially been like the face of the West in terms of League of Legends.
Or yeah, like he was like the top mid laner, and then like he switched to ADC and was probably a top 3 ADC in the West after one split, and his Worlds run last year was incredible. And I'm really looking forward to the aggression and game knowledge that he has from G2 to escalate us up to that next level.
Yeah, I think that just his experience and his talent is enough to really boost the team to a higher level. I mean, alone, he is an amazing player. I think that his synergy with Sven will really help. There's also a rumor that we've snagged a Mithy to be an assistant coach, which I think would help even more. My biggest worry is just of how he will gel with Blabber and the rest of the team. I'm not sure how Jankos' jungle style is, if Jankos is similar to how Blabber plays. I can't really think well enough to remember. But Blabber plays a really aggressive style. Maybe Perks' talent and how he plays will take some of that worry off of Blabber's shoulders, so Blabber doesn't have to worry as much about trying to really carry the team in the early game through his initiations. Maybe Perks. Maybe one of the reasons why Perks wanted to go to Cloud9 is because Blabber has that style, and Perks wants to be able to push Blabber even further to make him just this amazing juggernaut in the jungle that can just whenever and then be sure to clean up. It's going to be interesting. I think that Perkz can teach younger players like Blabber, or players that are new to the LCS stage like Fudge, you know, to really teach like how like, hey, you know, this is how we should play around the map. This is how we should be doing things at this stage of the game, this stage. This along with the new item changes, it's going to be a really interesting journey for Cloud9. But I'm hoping that, and with Rainover at the helm, who, with what he has done with the academy team and really showing that, hey, I'm ready to head coach, you know, I'm ready to do this. You know, I think that it'll be really exciting, and I think we're going to be able to get things done, hopefully.
I think so. I am impressed with Team Liquid's roster, but I still like ours. Perkz is probably the best player in the West. Fudge has, as long as he's like on his worst days average, then I think that's perfectly fine, because our mid and bot lanes are so strong that we can get through with like a weak side top lane, or who just chills and farms up.
I think that even when we were struggling in summer, I think our bot lane was definitely one of the few roles that looked like it didn't really need a lot of close examining, because in the laning phase we were doing really well in the bot lane and we didn't really seem to have a lot of trouble there. So I think that we don't really have to worry about bot lane. And I think that Fudge seems, at least from watching him play and everything, he seems pretty comparable to Licorice. You know, he spent hours and hours helping Licorice in 1v1s and lane matchups and everything. So I think to be able to practice with Licorice on almost a daily basis probably really helps out in getting him to, you know, at least to like a conditioning and strength level. It'll be really interesting how he measures up with some of these other top laners, you know, how he measures up with, isn't Alfari supposedly going to be coming over to the LCS and playing against
Alfari's on Team Liquid.
Yeah, and he's going to have to be playing against Licorice and Impact and Huni and all these other really big names. But I think in terms of skill level, he's close to Licorice, so I think we should be fine as long as he can hold his own. The bottom half of the map should be able to clean up most of the time, at least on paper.
Yeah, and I just feel like this is a leveled up roster from last split. Like overall, like Fudge and Licorice, even if Fudge is not quite as good of a player, like carry potential wise, like we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need more carry potential. We need someone who can be a rock and hold the defensive.
Yeah, so I think it's good, and it's a great learning experience for him too.
Yeah, for sure. But what do you think of some of the other off-season roster drama? This has been, I kind of tweeted out earlier saying that like this is probably the most dramatic, busiest off-season that I've seen in a while, with people going to different teams. You know, we're seeing a lot of players from EU come over. We're seeing some OPL players, since they're grandfathered into being NA residents. We're seeing some of them maybe come over. We even saw a Latin American North player in Jose Dioto. He's going to be playing. There's even some drama with TSM maybe not being able to get Sword Art, and that is putting maybe Doublelift's situation in jeopardy, and Doublelift may edge out to retire if that's the case. There's lots of crazy stuff flying around there.
Yeah, it's. I guess the big question right now is TSM, but I feel like even CLG has kind of built up a sneaky decent squad. They have Finn from EU.
Yeah, Finn is good.
And
they have
Broxa, Pole Belter. Like I'm not sure who's in their bot lane, but that's a
I know 6A.
roster.
I think the rumor is 6A is maybe going to Golden Guardians. Because Golden Guardians just nuked their whole roster. They just got rid of everybody.
Oh yeah, that's true.
and I saw that, and I was just like, wait, did Golden Guardians just get rid of their whole roster? So
Yeah.
you know, they have that.
100
no, I think
Thieves
maybe
has closer now, right? So they have closer.
yeah, 100 Thieves has closer now,
Who?
and Demonte, I think.
Yeah, which is interesting. That'll be fun. With someday.
Yeah. There's just a lot of really interesting rosters that I think can be some sleeper hits. I'm really excited for FlyQuest with their the Cloud9 package deal of getting Licorice, Palafox, and Diamond. I'm really glad that Diamond and Palafox got offers to play, just because they definitely deserve it with how they've been playing at Academy for the past few years. So that's really great that they're able to get onto the big stage and have a starting spot. So they're going to be really fun to see for sure.
Oh yeah. Again, FlyQuest is becoming Cloud9 Part 2, so I have a soft spot for them. I'll be really happy to watch.
They've always been a Cloud9 Part 2 team. They've been Cloud9 light.
Yeah, so I'm happy to watch them. I think it's going to be an interesting year, but I if TSM gets Sword Art, I think it's going to be a 3-horse race.
Yeah, I think that racing for the top is going to be really interesting. I think looking at the teams, definitely we would be a contender. I think FlyQuest would be a contender. Honestly, FlyQuest is usually the dark horse in a lot of the top teams, but I think that they have proven, I think, for a couple of years now that they can easily be in a top team spot and cement themselves there. You have Team Liquid with making some changes to maybe make them better. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with losing Impact, and having Santorin play in the jungle, and then you have TSM who, you have TSM who's it's being coached by Bjergsen, which I'm really curious to see how he'll approach coaching, since this will be his first year as a coach. They didn't do like Reignover did, where Reignover was able to be sort of an assistant coach and like a positional coach, and then they bumped him up to Academy so he could have a year to sort of prepare himself for coaching a team before C9's plan to make him the head coach actually came to be. And Reignover kind of checked all the boxes, right, for him, saying like, look, I understand how to coach now. I understand how things go. I can coach a team rather than just being a positional coach. And moving on to LCS, Bjergsen's just straight up, look, I'm the coach now. You have to do what I say. So it'll be really interesting to see like what his approach is to the team and how he's going to be able to do things as a coach rather than a player.
Yeah, and if the rumored roster comes together with Huni, Power of Evil, right? Power of Evil, Double Lift, and Sword Art.
Yeah. Power of Evil is the replacement.
Is the heir apparent. And Double Lift and Sword Art, that is a pretty good roster. Like Sword Art is a world finalist. Huni he's the world champion, right? He won on SKT. Technically,
yeah. Even though he was on the bench, Huni is the one question mark for me. Huni is a player that, at least for the past few years, has sort of been either he's going to ball out and carry the game, or he's going to feed his ass off and he's going to just be a detriment to the team. So it's going to be interesting how he plays on TSM and if that trend's going to continue. I know a lot of people were kind of having that as a question mark. It's like, why did you want a Huni? There were other top laners here you could have gotten, that maybe was less volatile. But they wanted Huni and they went for Huni. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. And if I have to say though, Huni is probably the best at negotiating contracts. If you could continue to get like just better and better deals as time goes on.
Yeah, he's gotten paid at every place he's gone, and he's gone to SKT and Fnatic, and
he made that like over $1 million deal with Dignitas, and everyone was just like, "What did he do?" to get them?
And then he just didn't do anything good. He
yeah,
was just bad all year.
He still got paid like millions of dollars. and not having to do anything.
Yeah, I need to get him as my agent because I would also like to get paid.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you can learn how to negotiate like he can, you'll be able to pretty much do anything.
Or yeah, I think the only question marks are if Impact and Contracts find a roster. Those are
That is.
the remaining Cloud9 guys who are still not on a roster.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't heard a rumor about where he would go. I haven't seen anything unless like he's going to like. I could see CLG maybe trying to get him though. He could maybe be asking for too much money. I could maybe see Golden Guardians as another option.
Or CLG has Finn from EU and Broxa, so.
Oh, that's no. I thought Impact got. I thought Impact's a resident. I thought he gained residency.
He is, but CLG brought in Finn.
Oh. No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Impact's a resident now, so he could still play for them, couldn't he?
Yeah, but Finn's a top laner.
Oh, I thought Finn was a mid laner.
No, he's top.
Oh, that's my bad. Okay, he's top lane. I'm a fool. Never mind. Scratch that last part. Yeah, okay, so he can't go to CLG. I could see him going to Golden Guardians. Oh no, the rumor was that he was going to go to Evil Geniuses, wasn't he? Isn't that the rumor? Like, Evil Geniuses would give them who needed TSM, and then Impact would go to Evil Geniuses.
Maybe that'd be a good pickup for them. So I hope they do. I guess
it's gotten really jumbled in terms of who's going where since like there's been a lot of moves going around. Like C9 is actually one of the few teams that aren't making that many moves, so it's easy for us to keep track of them versus something like Golden Guardians where they're just like, we're just going to drop our whole team. It's like, okay, well, where are they going? And CLG is just a mess. So it's like they're bound to like get rid of mostly everybody, right? So it's it's difficult there to be like, well, where how are you going to slap people in there? You definitely have to replace Ruin, so that's why they got Finn. You got Broxa because Wiggly definitely wasn't working out, but then it's like, are you going to keep 6A? Where's he going to go? Who was no Smoothie was their support. They're going to keep Smoothie, that kind of thing. So it's, I think for a lot of the other lesser teams, it's going to be difficult. I've completely even forgotten like Immortals exist. I don't even know what's going on with them because they're like such a bottom barrel team. Like I haven't paid attention to any moves that Immortals have made because I think I heard that all of the things that they did, I don't even know who they signed. I just know that their moves have been just so lackluster. It's not even worth like talking about. No offense to anyone that's an Immortals fan. I'm sorry, but it's kind of the truth. Let's be honest, guys.
All offense to him.
All offense. You hitched your horse to that wagon. Now you have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, exactly. It was their choice to be a Immortals fan. All right. Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at C9Bodied, if you please. And we will see you again next time.
Awesome. Sounds good. Hopefully we get that perks confirmation soon.
Knowing us, as soon as we upload this to the internet, it'll be like, we just signed perks.
I would be okay with that. So
we'll have to see.
I will accept that as a outcome, and I hope that happens. But until next time, bye guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.